We didn't get to finish the song, but hi everyone. My name is Brian Graham. I'm the chair of the Fairfax County Democratic Committee, and welcome to the March 2023 general membership meeting for FCDC. I'm actually going to stop sharing just for a second, just so we can see some faces in there. And feel free to hop on camera if you want for a second. We were supposed to have this meeting, hybrid meeting in person, in person and also on Zoom. But the schedule didn't happen at the school or whatever, so we will do that next time. But it's good to see a lot of you. I saw some of you at the straw poll, and I'm happy to see you all on here as well. So let's get this meeting underway. And of course, I'd start with the same virtual meeting instructions that we've had for quite some time now. But if you would like to be recognized, please raise your hand. Please don't use the chat window for meeting business. There's can be a lot of messages in there sometimes, so it's hard to or easy to miss something. Virtual meeting instructions. If we do have a vote, obviously only vote if you are a member of FCDC. There is a live stream if you are not a member of FCDC that you really should be on, but anyway, I digress, right? If we do have a counted vote, we will use a poll using the Zoom poll feature, and you may need to exit the full screen view or swipe one direction on your phone or tablet to see the poll if we get into that situation. And now here we are in the approval of agenda and minutes, and I ask if there are any changes to the agenda or minutes. Okay, seeing no one seeking recognition, we can both the agenda and minutes are approved, and we can move on to the approval of new members. The list of new members is here on the screen. I guess I will also just say that I want to apologize on behalf of FCDC to some of these folks that have been waiting here for a while and others that are still waiting. We had the member lists not getting updated and sent to the districts as they were supposed to be doing. So we have done that now, and some folks have been voted on, and I think some folks are still pending. Just to tell everyone that you have to be approved by your district before you can be approved by FCDC as a whole. So it does take some time. It's kind of part of the process, I guess. And I see Maggie has her hand raised, and I recognize Maggie Gobbold.
Thank you so much, Brian. I'm just here to make a comment. The three names in Sully came forward in our February meeting, and I'm not making an objection. I just want to comment that I did ask whether or not these three folks had been vetted, that we were sure that they were Democrats. I personally know Karen and Jean, but I did not know Ed. And since seeing this, I've done a little bit of research about Ed. He does appear as a lean Dem in the van, but he has supported Republicans in the past. So the Sully committee did vote to accept him into the committee, but I'm not sure how much vetting was gone, and I don't know that there's much rules for that since I'm no longer part of the leadership. So I just wanted to make that comment. Thank you.
Thank you. I think most of the kind of screening happens at the district level generally. So it's a great point to make. I guess at this point, I would, what did I say ask, but is there any objection to affirming the election of these members to their respective district committees? Okay, hearing no objection, the members are elected. And congratulations, welcome. Welcome to the more than 1,000 members of FCDC, and hope to see you many more times. I see some of you are on here on the call already. So at this point, I'd like to move on to the introduction of special guests. I know we've heard from a number of candidates at the straw poll. But there are some candidates that have not addressed FCDC as of this moment, right? So at this time, I would like to introduce if there are any candidates who are running in the primary who have not yet addressed FCDC for them to make themselves known. And I'm looking, I do see Kelvin here. I have previously, or kind of before the meeting, got a request from Paul Thomas. So I will recognize Paul Thomas first, who is a candidate for school board in the Hunter Mill District.
Thank you, Brian. My name is Paul Thomas. I'm proud to be a candidate for school board in the Hunter Mill District. First of all, thanks to everyone who voted for me in the straw poll. My win on Saturday is a result of the relationships I've been building and how well my messages resonate. I'm a proud product of Hunter Mill Schools, a former math teacher at TJ, and for the past 17 years, I've been a parent of 2 students in Hunter Mill Schools. I've served on numerous community boards, I've been PTSA president, and am currently Band Booster president. I know and care about our schools broadly and deeply. I believe the school board needs to focus on 3 things: collaborating with the unions to refocus on instruction and addressing our staffing crisis, continuing work on equity and inclusion, and working as an effective team. If you want to learn more, donate, or sign up, please go to paulforschools.com. Again, Paul Thomas for school board, and thanks for your time. Thanks, Brian.
Oh, thanks, Paul. And I appreciate brevity. Next, I recognize Kelvin Garcia, candidate for sheriff.
Good evening, Fairfax Democrats. My name is Kelvin Garcia, and I'm running to be the next sheriff of Fairfax County. While growing up, I always admired law enforcement officers and first responders. They're the ones who are there for people in their times of greatest need. That's why when I got older, I pursued law enforcement as a career, earning my bachelor's in criminal justice, master's of public administration, and my Juris Doctorate. And I served as a police officer with the Metropolitan Police Department for over a decade, where I was proud for meaningful relationships with members of underserved communities. Currently, I'm a law clerk at a local immigration firm, and I'm also a high school sports coach in Herndon High School. The same reasons why I pursued a career in law enforcement are the same reasons why I coach, and the same reasons why I want to serve as a sheriff to build safer, more just communities. Under the current leadership, staffing shortages have left good programs in the sheriff's office neglected, leaving our communities vulnerable. The current sheriff stands up for bad cops, uses excessive force, defends abuse of transgender inmates and in court, and abuses the paid call system in our jail to earn corporate kickbacks. It's time for a fresh perspective in the sheriff's office. I'll work to break the revolving door in our criminal justice system. I'll build better reentry programs to cut the rate of reoffense, reform the broken practices currently in place in our jail, and partner with prosecutors to put progressive ideas into action, not prosecuting low-level drug offenses, reforms to the cash bail system, and continuing and building upon a non-cooperation policy with ICE for low-level offenders to build a more just Fairfax County. We can build the community we want, but it takes all of us. Give me the honor of your vote, and we can work together to build a better Fairfax. I'm Kelvin Garcia, and I want to be your sheriff. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks, Kelvin. Next, I'd like to recognize Maritza Zerminio, candidate for supervisor in the Mount Vernon District.
Thank you, Brian. Good evening, everybody. I'm so excited to announce that I'm running for supervisor of the Mount Vernon District. I'm so proud of my district that I've been working for the last 10 years, making sure we elect elected officials that represent us. On day 1, I'm going to promise that I'm going to go and visit every principal in the school and make sure that we take care of the opioid crisis. I'm tired to see that other districts get so many things and we just get left behind. So I'm so proud that I'm representing Mount Vernon. I'm asking for your vote, and I really think that we want to make big changes in our community. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks, Maritza. Next, we have hand raised for Arna Bamidipati.
Yes, I'm here on behalf of our Amisha's campaign. So she is currently running for the at-large member for the FCPS school board, and I'm a current FCPS student here to speak on her behalf, as she could not join, I think, at the moment. So Aurora Anish is a incumbent on the school board and has had that experience. And additionally, she's an FCPS graduate in addition to being a incumbent. So she has been through the system, she knows how it works, and she is ready to make those changes that FCPS needs and has already made amazing changes that I, again, as a student can attest to. Some of those changes that she's brought about are providing free 24/7 one-to-one tutoring through tutor.com, and that has been really beneficial to students such as myself, and it's really been able to take that service, which is tutoring, which has always been sort of a privilege, and just make it accessible to students everywhere, regardless of what their ability to access it is. And another thing that she's been able to do is provide free telemental health services, and that will be going into effect April 10th of this year. And essentially what this would do is provide free telemental health student services online for all students and opt-in program. And this will allow all students to sort of have access to the support that they need. And we hope that you consider ABRAR, and we thank you for your support.
Thank you, Arna. Next, I recognize Mary Barthelson, candidate for HD7.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mary Barthelson. I'm a candidate running for the House of Delegates to represent District 7, following the retirement of Delegate Ken Plum. I'm an engineer in the space industry and a community volunteer, and I'm running on, in addition to supporting the party platform, I'm running on primarily 3 positions. The first one is to reduce housing insecurity. Right now, Ruston has 4 tent communities, and they're completely managed by volunteers. We have people who are around 80 years old living there. And that's an issue that I've been working on for a few years now to advocate on their behalf. And now I'd like to take that advocacy to the state level. The second thing I'm running on is to bring a mobile mental health crisis unit to Ruston. Right now, the one that serves us comes from Merrifield, so it can take a couple of days for them to get to us in an emergency. And that is a program that can be funded with state money. And I know that our community will benefit from it. And then the third thing that I'm running on is to ensure that we have elected officials who understand technology and can properly legislate it. Unfortunately, I've seen too many instances of our elected officials being dependent on lobbyists to explain the technical aspects of bills to them. So I think it's very important as we move towards sustainable energy and get more questions about things like data privacy, that we have someone who is trained and elected there in the General Assembly to make sure we get the policies we need passed the first time around. And as an engineer and community volunteer, I'm very reliant on individual small donors. I don't have a lot of corporate backers. So I'd love to have your support in any way that you're able to give it. I will have some canvases coming up if anyone would like to volunteer, and I will drop my information in the chat.
All right, thank you. Next, I recognize Shamli Hoff, also running for HD7.
Thanks so much, Brian. I really appreciate the opportunity to address the entire committee. Thank you very much for the vote. I was very proud to win the straw poll last Sunday. I'm Shamli Hoff, running for HD7. This is the same seat that Mary's running for, Ken Plum's seat. I have been a community activist, and I've been working on issues at a statewide level through advocacy for things like the Equal Rights Amendment, as well as issues to do with equity, climate justice, making sure that we have a good bicycling and road repairs. And then I have been working for the last 3 years in the Hunter Mall District office, handling multimodal transportation, public safety, the arts, advising on things like health and human services. I am now ready to work for you at the state level as your delegate if you will support my campaign. I am, excuse me, whoops, this keeps popping up here on me. So I'm going to put in the chat information about my website at www.healthforva.com. I am proud to announce that I have 2 great endorsements. South Asians for America has endorsed me, as well as Vote Vets, and I'm very excited about that. I look forward to talking with you all in person as I go to the various district meetings.
All right, thanks, Shamli. Next, recognize Ilrong Moon, candidate for school board at large.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, FCDC, for coming out to my campaign kickoff 2 weeks ago, and again on Sunday evening to show your support of my candidacy. Running for school board at large again. I had formerly served as a large school board member for 20 years. When I return to join the other 11 to be elected, I'm hoping that we'll once again have all 12 Democratic school board members. However, with the 7 current board members having chosen not to run for re-election, I think my experience for 20 years of service and also leadership that I can bring to the table, along with a unique perspective as an immigrant who came to the US at the age of 17, having to learn the English as a second language, growing up in extreme poverty, first one to go to college, and practicing law for 39 years, being a small business person, and father of 2 sons who graduated from Fairfax County Public Schools, is going to be all beneficial to the work of the board. As we all know that public education is under attack, and Fairfax County is being targeted by Republican administration. I want to join the other 11 Democratic school board members to fight this and to make sure that we provide the best possible educations to more than 180,000 students in Fairfax County Public Schools.
All right, thank you, Mr. Moon. Carl Fisher's next. Carl, you have already addressed FCDC in this campaign, so please be brief.
Go in announcement. It's fine. Move on.
Okay. All right. And then I recognize Chris Lewis, candidate for school board at large.
Hey, thank you very much for giving me a minute here, Brian. My name is Chris Lewis, and I'm running for school board at large. And I have a couple of things that I want to share with the group. Number one is, why am I running? The first main reason is because after 30 years of working with Fairfax County Public Schools, I feel like I have a lot to give back for all of the things that the school system has given to me. I'm here this evening at Lake Braddock attending a fentanyl town hall and learning a lot. And it is kind of sad what our school system is going through right now, but we have lots of resources at our disposal that we want to turn around and make sure that our kids get the best and possible help that they can. But a couple of things that are key on my platform is I want to bring a lot more attention to the career and technical education programs. I want to expand what we have already, and I want to grow the process to include more pathways for kids to be able to learn the non-traditional sort of skills, professional skills, technical skills, and things. Second thing is I want to make sure we have mentally and physically healthy kids. And that's one of the most important things. And the third is teachers. Our teachers have got to be professionally healthy as well. We need to give them plenty of autonomy in the classroom. We need to give them compensation packages to attract the very best and brightest and keep them after we have them. And then also we need to give them great working conditions where they can really express their own creativity and passion in the classroom. These are the reasons why I want to run for school board, and these are the reasons why I ask your support during this endorsement process. Thanks so much, Brian.
All right, thank you. I guess I've got a message that in chat, we had Hamid Munir request to speak. Hamid, I recognize you next.
Thank you, Brian. Hello, friends of FCDC. My name is Hamid Munir. I'm an immigrant American who graduated from Fairfax County Public School and has overcome many challenges to earn undergraduate and master's degree from George Mason University and to become a successful IT professional. I currently have kids in the Fairfax County Public School, and I have been a leader in PTA at the local, regional, state, and national level. I serve on the boards of Celebrate Fairfax and Stop Child Abuse now in Virginia as well. We need to build more equitable society in our schools. I believe that we expand year-round literacy, science, technology, engineering, arts, and math and STEM programs with the focus on widening the interest and participation of underrepresented students. We must ensure students in all our schools feel safe and are secure. I will promote programs that foster and prevent violence, bullying, harassment, substance abuse, and hate speech in schools. And now, as a former Fairfax County School student, as a father, as an advocate, as a community leader, and as a technology professional, I humbly ask that you put your faith in me so that I can use my background, education, and experience and to serve as a powerful yet calm voice on the school board. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I recognize Lawrence Webb, candidate for school board at large.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lawrence Webb. I am one of the candidates for school board at large. Want to bring my experience to the board. I've served on the board for 8 years in the city of Falls Church. So I will be ready to hit the ground running on day one. We have many tough issues that are facing us right now. The administration is trying to roll back much of the progress that we have seen over the last 2 to 3 years, particularly with our LGBT students. As a member of the board, I will make sure that those rights that have been given to our students will continue to be for our students, and also look to expand upon those rights that our students have received. Also looking to expand upon what we will be doing for our students in some of our more challenging areas of the county. We must make sure that all students, regardless of their zip code, have opportunities, college and career readiness, to be able to walk across the stage and on day one be able to earn a living wage, be it college or be it going on into the workforce. And that will be something I will work on day one to make sure that those students are ready. Again, I'm Lawrence Webb, candidate for at large, and look forward to seeing and meeting many more of you.
All right, thank you. Next, I recognize Karen Keys-Gamarra, the school board member and candidate for HD7.
Hi, everyone. This is Karen Keys-Gamarra. It's a pleasure to be with you. I am currently an at-large school board member, and I have declared my candidacy on International Women's Day to run for HD7. I am really excited about this opportunity because I believe that it's a way to be able to bring all of my experiences in serving the community, first as an attorney who has served extensively as a guardian ad litem, serving families within our community to find solutions to make families successful. Represented kids who have experienced abuse and neglect. I've also represented parents looking for solutions. I'm a former planning commissioner, and I've been a community advocate working with women to combat domestic violence. As I said before, I currently serve as a school board, at-large school board member, where I've worked on a number of initiatives, including menstrual equity to prevent young women from having to have absences and have interrupted education, and the expansion of advanced academics. I co-authored the proposal so that we could have an independent review of our special education, which resulted services, which resulted in a 3-year study. And we are now implementing 19 recommendations to improve those services. And I've also worked to remove Confederate names from our schools to make sure that our schools are welcoming for all students. And I would say perhaps my proudest achievement is the establishment of the John Lewis Leadership Academy, which helps to train our students to learn about civics and public service and justice, and have experiential learning in this area so that we make sure we have the best students are prepared to lead for tomorrow. As I move forward, I hope to be able to use all of these experiences to make sure that we have reproductive freedom, to combat the rhetoric that has been coming out of Richmond from our governor that has been so hateful toward our LGBTQ students, as well as many just in total disregard of our families. And so I'd like to make sure that every Virginian has equal access to a world-class public education. I'd like to work to ban assault weapons, to improve affordable housing, which I have experience in working with local land use as a planning commissioner, and to protect the civil rights of all persons by creating a welcoming Virginia inclusive of race, ethnicity, gender, or gender identity or ability. I really would love to have your support. My website is listed here. Please feel free to call me at the number listed if you have any questions. I'd love to talk to you, and I look forward to working for a better Virginia. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next, I recognize Harold Sims, candidate for school board in Mount Vernon districts.
Thank you, Brian. Good evening to everyone, my fellow FCDC members. I'm so glad to see everyone on tonight. I apologize, I'm in my car. I'm just on my way home from work. My name is Harold Sims, and I'm running for the Fairfax County School Board to represent the Mount Vernon district. As many of you know, the Mount Vernon district is one of the most diverse districts. It is a majority minority community. It's very diverse right here on the Route 1 corridor. I am a proud parent of 5 children, 2 who are currently in FCPS students. I have 2 who have graduated from Fairfax County Public Schools. I've been an active member of FCDC, serving on the Black Caucus as parliamentarian. I've also and currently served in the Mount Vernon District Committee, where I serve as the co-chair for community outreach. In addition to that, I've been an active member of my children's parent-teacher organizations as well in the community. I have been in law enforcement for over 20, almost 23 years now, and I've also served as a pastor. I believe that those things are relevant because it gives me the type of experience that allows me to run towards challenges, to overcome challenges, to be able to talk to anyone, even people who may have different views and different ideas. But I'm a person that believes in building bridges and not putting up barriers. And so I think that's the type of leadership and the representation that we need in the most diverse district that we have in Fairfax County today. I believe that it's vital to have someone who has walked with people through challenges, who has led people through challenges. It's one thing to have experience. I'm the product of a single parent home. I'm a product of public school education. You cannot appropriately represent a people if you don't understand the experiences of a people. It's one thing to read about experience, it's one thing to talk to people about their experiences, but I have lived the experiences literally of the majority of this district in Mount Vernon. And I believe that I'm the best candidate to be their voice, to be a voice of reason, to be the person who is able to build bridges. Now, my platform, as my time is coming to an end, is simply this. I will be committed when I am elected to represent Mount Vernon to make sure that our schools, number 1, are safe for everyone. Number 2, to ensure that there is equity and inclusion in every policy, procedure, and regulation. Number 3, to serve students, all students. And number 3, to ensure that all teachers and administrative staff are served. And that's why I'm running, and I appreciate the time, and thank you for your vote in the upcoming caucus for school board to represent Mount Vernon. Thank you so much for your time.
All right, thank you. Next, I recognize Seema Dixit, candidate for school board in Sully District.
Thank you, Brian. My name is Seema Dixit, and I'm actually running for FCPS School Board in Sully District. I have been a long time resident of Sully District for 20 years. Two of my sons have attended FCPS. I currently have a son who's attending Centerville High School. I've been a volunteer at PTAs at different schools like Bull Run Elementary, then Rocky Run Middle School. I was on the PTA board, and currently I'm serving on Centerville High School PTSA board as a vice president. I'm a small business owner, and I've been working with the government contracting for the last 12 years. And I strongly believe in our education system. Being an immigrant myself, and getting my kids into FCPS was the best thing I could do for them. And my family has, they have really got the support of the FCPS, the schools and the teachers, this amazing community. And this is my turn to give back. I know the school system school board went through a very hard time during pandemic. And this is my way of giving back and supporting our school system. My campaign is actually, in very simple terms, I believe in excellence in education and I believe in equity. These two combining together, I want to bring equity and excellence to every child, regardless of their background, their race, ethnicity, or ability. I want to make sure the parents are involved in education, and also I want teachers to get better pays. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Seema. And I don't see any other hands. So I believe we can move on to our next item of business, which is the election of Vice Chair of Finance. I think at this point, I will mention in an email 2 days ago, it was sent out to everyone that we do have a vacancy for Vice Chair of membership as well. That wasn't advertised with enough notice to have an election for it at this meeting. So we will have that at our next meeting in May. But at this point, we can have the election for Vice Chair of Finance, and I can open the floor to see if there are any nominations. I recognize Greg Brandon.
Thank you, Brian. I nominate Tina Barczyk to be Vice Chair of Finance.
I second the nomination.
Second.
Okay, Tina Barczyk has been nominated. Are there any other nominations?
Maybe not.
Okay, seeing no additional nominations, nominations are closed. And without objection, we can elect Tina Barczyk as Vice Chair of Finance to complete the term for Vice Chair of Finance by acclamation. So seeing no objection, it is so done. And thank you for that. Okay, and we can move on to the Treasurer's Report, and I recognize Nadia Golding.
Okay, I'm unmuted. Okay, so the Treasurer's Report. Brian is just showing it, but I can't see it for some reason. Oh, I know why. All right, so this is the summary of the Treasurer's Report, the first page. And it basically tells you where we are relative to our budget, and it's in big line items. Or we've raised $148,000. We had hoped to raise a lot more, but in fact, there's a little bit that we raised last weekend that is not in there yet. So that picture will look a little better by the end of the year. We've spent a little less than we planned on operations income, which has been really good because never mind. I'm sorry, I'm going obviously not reading this correctly. We didn't raise as much in operations income as we wanted, but we did do okay on voter contact and election support income. Altogether, our income picture's not great. Our expenses are a little less than we had planned, so that has helped us a little bit. Our ending balance is quite a bit low at 31,789. That's lower than we had hoped. And I believe we'll finish the fiscal year at the end of this month with a little bit more because we did do pretty well at the straw poll on Sunday. The second page will show you, if Brian wants to go on to the second page, where each of the districts stands at this point, and none of this includes any credit card income that came in this month, so it's still not finalized. One thing, if anybody's looking at this really closely, I have a little discrepancy between the first page and the last of $165 for the ending balance for FCDC, and I'm going to be working on that, and I'm going to get it fixed before I produce an end of the fiscal year report. But that's about all, unless I have questions.
Not seeing any questions. Without objection, I'd like to go back to recognize some candidates, and I guess that either I didn't see or didn't have their hands raised, whatever. First, I'd like to recognize Mateo Dunn, a candidate for Mount Vernon School Board.
Well, I'm very honored and humbled to speak to FCDC tonight. I appreciate all the support that I received this weekend at the Pick Your Pony straw poll, and I appreciate everyone's participation in that important event. I'm very excited to present my candidacy for Mount Vernon District Representative. I have received support and endorsements from Karen Corbett Sanders, Paul Krizak, Scott Sorovel, and Dan Stork, and I'm pleased to have their support, but I'm very focused on my record as an education advocate in this community for the past 10 years, as well as my historic membership before the pandemic in both Mount Vernon Dems and FCDC, as well as my campaigns in support of the meals tax and in support of increased school funding, increased pay for teachers, and increased programming and resources for our kids. I am committed to excellent schools every day in every way, by which I mean a world-class education for every child in the Mount Vernon district, which has the highest concentration of poverty, great diversity, but has the greatest needs. And so I will be working assiduously to gain your support in the forthcoming Democratic caucus. Thank you very much for your time.
Okay. Thanks, Mateo. I think we are now heading into the chair's report. There's a couple of things just while I have a moment, because there is someone else that I think that is trying to get to a place where they can speak. So I'm stalling a little bit, but I do want to kind of just address, if folks have been looking at the chat, I think that there's basically some comments that were made towards a student that were not really acceptable. We do have I'm going to say a duty or responsibility to be welcoming and patient. I think I get called that a lot, right? But there is a code of conduct for FCDC, and we really do need to treat each other with respect. So that's something that we always need to remember. We don't always have to agree on everything, but I'm going to quote that we can disagree agreeably, or give constructive feedback or whatever else, right? We don't have to be so unkind. So let's see. Okay. While I'm also while I have a moment, I guess we can also talk a little bit. Nadia mentioned, we did okay at our straw poll. We are still behind where we should be from a financial perspective. So I will kind of I promised Tina that I would always make an ask for what we used to call the sustainers, and now we call the GEMS program. If you do have the ability to support FCDC with a donation of $10 or more a month, we have relaunched this program called the Fairfax Dems GEMS, and you can give at fairfaxdems.org/gem. And there are kind of new tiers of kind of benefits for those things. And for those who are upgrading soon, we will have our first chairs chat in this next quarter. Yeah, I'll put the link in the chat too. That's a good thing. I guess a couple other things while I'm talking, right? We we have seen a number of candidates, right? We're in the filing window, so candidates who for office are now filing. If they're filing for a primary, they're filing with FCDC, and then if they're filing for an endorsement, they're also filing with FCDC. So the filing deadline for those offices is April 6th. So at that point, we'll have a good idea of who's running, which races are challenged, and whatnot. And we will share that information on the website soon. I will put out an ask right at this moment for folks that are competent in Van or data folks. We are doing petition review, so reviewing the signatures on all the petitions. So if you have that capability, if you're good with Van, this is something you can do from home. You don't have to come into to FCDC to do it. So if you are so inclined, send me a message, and I can get you connected to that volunteer opportunity. I do have a couple other things to say, but at this point, I believe we have Supervisor Stork.
Yes. Brian, I'm here.
You have the floor.
Can anybody hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't have video. I'm stopped on the side of the road because I'm just coming back from a meeting. We had the environmental awards, which was really amazing event to honor both folks who are doing things environmentally, whether it's trees or stormwater or frankly just designs of buildings. And we had a number of great folks who were recognized, and I was pleased as the environmental committee chair of the board to really have been part of that, along with Jeff McKay, the chairman. Additionally, as you all know, we had a number of meetings today, committee meetings today, which were not only I'm chair of the audit committee, so we're looking for a new auditor general for our office, as well as we had meetings on public safety and budget. Got a lot going on in the budget. Human Services Council presented to us to talk with us about key elements of that, as well as we spent a closed session meeting talking about the latest Supreme Court decision that affected some of what we call ZMOD. But I am running for office again. I've sure loved what I do, and I think made a big difference in the district, and I hope others feel likewise. We've got so many things that have happened here up and down the district, from bus rapid transit and the $1 billion we're getting for that, to just all kinds of major affordable housing developments, North Hill and Wesley Housing, to some major community centers and police stations and fire station upgrades and so on down in Lorton. So all around, at least the Mount Vernon district, we've got a lot going on, and then broadly the environmental things I talked about, and then just some of the audit and budget things we're doing. So it's a pleasure to represent the folks of Mount Vernon district. I sure have enjoyed doing it. Look forward to doing it for another 4 years, and ask folks who are interested in learning more about my campaign to go to the chat. There's some information in there. Love to have you join and work with us. It's been a great ride for me. As many of you know, I spent 12 years on the school board, was 3-time chair of the board, as well as chaired the major committees, and then now on the board of supervisors and getting ready to hopefully be successful in getting a 3rd term. So look forward to all of your help in doing that.
All right, thank you. Okay, the last kind of thing before I get into the budget part of my report, which is fun, is the FCDC at its steering committee meeting, and I guess before that had some discussion with the Black Caucus about putting out a statement related to the officer involved shooting where an unarmed Black man was killed by FCPS. The kind of result of that is that the steering committee meeting that was 2 weeks ago, the FCDC steering voted on behalf of FCDC to accept the positions that we stand in solidarity with our brothers and sisters in the Black Caucus and with the NAACP, that we support the demand for an independent, transparent, and comprehensive investigation into the death of Mr. Johnson. We demand a reevaluation of FCPD policies regarding the timeliness of when information and body cam video is released, and ask that greater community input is involved in that part the updating of those policies. As a result, I guess we subsequently the video was released, and just in case you didn't know, FCDC did put out a statement regarding this. You can see it on the front page of the FCDC website at fairfaxdems.org. And then I would encourage you to go take a look at that if you'd like. Some of the content did change. I mean, obviously there are independent investigations ongoing into the shooting from the independent auditor, and of course the criminal investigation. So those things are ongoing. We had really kind of tough, difficult, emotional conversation about a charged topic, and I really do kind of appreciate everyone's ability to work through some of that. I know it's hard as FCDC well, it can be difficult to come up with a statement that is representative of FCDC, that's supporting electing Democratic officials, but is also standing for our values. So that's I think that's some of the challenges that we walk through when we tackle challenging issues like that. So and I guess my last item before the budget, there were some questions after the straw poll about ranked choice voting, in particular about the at-large school board race, because there was a multiple winner election. So the task force spent a lot of time talking about how that would actually work. I put out an explainer video on our Twitter page. You can also see it on our YouTube page as well. It's about 5 minutes, and it walks through the differences between the tabulation process that was used by the election buddy software that we used for the caucus, and the counting process that we're going to use in our endorsement in May. So I think that's it for my report, except for I want to introduce or yield a little bit of time to Dominic Thompson, the new executive director of the Fairfax County Democratic Committee, to say hello. And I didn't tell him he was going to do this at this moment, so surprise.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dominic Thompson. Like Brian said, I am so excited to be here and to be the new executive director for FCDC. And I see Kathy's happy hands up there in the corner. And I am so excited about working with all of you and working with the steering committee to make sure that we keep Fairfax County blue coming up in this next election and win all 50 seats that are up. Please feel free to reach out to me. I'll put my contact information in the chat. And if I can help anyone with anything, please feel free to reach out. Thank you. And thanks for being here.
Thanks, Dominic. We're very glad to have your support, and I encourage everyone to be welcoming to Dominic as well. He's kind of thrown into I'm going to say thrown into the deep end a little bit, but you know, there's a lot to learn as a new executive director of FCDC. So I appreciate everyone's support in helping Dominic as well. All right, so the last part is the budget. The chair the chair presents the budget, and the budget goes in front of the steering committee and is amended. And so the draft budget, or per the bylaws at this meeting, we are to consider a budget and remind everyone that our budget year is from April 1st to May 31st. I do think the starting balance here is probably a little
March
aggressive.
31st.
What did I say?
You said May, but
Okay, well, you know, April to May, whatever. April 1st to May March 31st of the next year. It's pretty standard, I think. I think the starting balance in the proposed budget is still a little aggressive. We'll see how much we can make up with the income from the straw poll and some other things happening before the end of the month. But the budgeted income in the budget is $370,000, and budgeted expenses or net expenses is $328,000, which gives a net income of $41,000 and an ending balance of $101,000. So this is I think in this year we've always kind of exceeded what we planned. So I guess we'll see from the income perspective, we usually do a little bit better than we anticipate. So this is the kind of the big year that FCDC has, right? So there's a couple things. Part of that, I think a subcomponent to that is the what I'm just calling the campaigns here, but the joint and coordinated campaigns, which have budgeted income and budgeted expenses. So the net expense here is $15,000. But that includes an absentee ballot program, back to school pieces, mailing for voter outreach, voter guides, digital outreach, staff to help support this effort, literature for doors, and there's also a nice little $500 for miscellaneous there, which gives a net expense of $15,650, which we'll see kind of in the overall budget. And then one other thing just to mention that's incorporated into the budget this year is a policy. I think it has been brought up that we didn't have explained or written down how we approach the district committees and standing committees kind of from the budgeting process. So this was an attempt to document what we were doing while also incorporating kind of a change that we were that I asked for, and I think I mean we have kind of gone with so far, which is to take some of the money from the net proceeds from a district committee to help support the operational expenses of FCDC. My observation as FCDC chair is that some people say that they're giving to FCDC, but they only will go to the lasagna dinner or the Mardi Gras or whatever, and that's the thing they do every year, and that's how they give to FCDC. But there's a lot of things that we do centrally, from the campaign, from the office, from having an executive director, from credit card processing to the financial stuff as the one big organization. So that's something that we that I've asked for as the operational cost of FCDC or expenses continue to increase. And then it also documents the ways that we have treated standing committees and caucuses as the kind of the current practice of having expenses in the budget for standing committees and caucuses, allowing the steering committee to allow additional expenses as well, and then also giving authority to the chair to authorize additional monies raised by standing committees and caucuses to their own purposes. We did have as you have seen kind of with the reports that we have right now, we don't have a lot of money in the operating budget of FCDC. So I had asked and had frozen additional spending from these committees. And I think that did cause some consternation. That's obviously not the goal or the desire, but we do need to get into a stronger financial position so that that's not a problem. And then just to go quickly through, because we did brief this before, and I don't think that it has drastically changed. But there are a couple things that we're looking. I mean, one of the things we want to, I mean, you can see that the targets, a lot of the income targets are down from last year, except for fundraising events. We had in the experiment of a finance director, and we're not able to drastically increase our fundraising through that mechanism. So a lot of those targets are down from last year. With a few increases in the fundraising event section. We are heading into the fiscal year. We do have membership dues renewal, so that will be a component of our income, and it's desperately needed in a year like this. And you can see that the district kind of income from the districts supporting FCDC operations is slightly larger than before, with that percentage of income from net fundraising. That puts the income net of fundraising costs at $370,000. So I think I said before. The expenses, the net expense for joint and coordinated campaign, as mentioned before, is $15,650. The standing committees and caucuses, I could show you kind of the individual details if curious, but Spending committees and caucuses have budget requests that have been approved and are in the $51,000 for standing committees and caucuses. I think the largest component of that is the sample ballots that are a component of the precinct operations budget. And then operations expenses, rent continues to go up. We have a lease that we've been in, I think we have 3 years remaining, and there's a pre-programmed raise of the rent. Staff, of course, the year to year is down from last year, but that's just pay for our executive director and the benefits. And then we also, I don't think, honestly, nothing in the operations expenses has changed in the budgets as it's been presented to steering or as today. Those are basically kind of preset based off of the agreements that we have. And we're not talking about making drastic changes to those things. So that's it. Expenses at $328,000, net income at $41,739.86. And that leaves the ending balance as it is. And at this moment, I would ask for a motion to adopt the budget.
So moved. Peggy?
Second. Moved by Peggy Morrison and seconded by someone. Is there any discussion? Sue Rosenberg?
Yeah, could you just go over the joint campaign, because you have a very small number there. So yeah, and the money that you're putting there, is that net? Are you assessing candidates for the voter guide as we've done in the past?
Yes, so there's a couple components to that we are assessing candidates, or I'm going to say assessing, but we're asking very strongly for their support of this program as we run the coordinated this year. So the $247,410 on the top line of that, not all of that is from the campaigns. I think, excuse me. I'm pulling up the actual, but I think the actual that we're asking for the campaigns is about 180 or so, kind of across the General Assembly and the supervisors and basically everyone else is running as well. As we'll remind everyone that we have 14 candidates on the ballot and only 2 of them have a D or an R next to their name. So the primary purpose of this campaign is to help everyone understand who the Democrats are on the ballot. Sorry, let me just get an exact number for you. The ask from candidates is $167,410.
Which is basically the absentee ballot program and the voter guide in terms of what we're really asking them to pay for, which I think is terrific because they really benefit from that.
Yes. Okay, Diane Burns has a question. Go ahead, Diane.
How does our budget compare to the GOP, to the local budgets that they have?
I'm not sure exactly. I think if you look at their financial reports, I think they raise in a year at about $100,000 to $150,000, and I think so. It kind of varies. I mean, the weird thing about this budget, because and it's something to point out from the Sue Rosenberg question, is that the expense is the net expense. So if we're not successful raising all of that money, we can't spend all that money. So we're really budgeting the net expense of $15,000 or $15,650, and if we can't support, if we can't raise all that money, right, some of the expenses here have to be scaled down so that our net expense is not higher than that, right? So our goal is to spend all of those things. But so that really, it's kind of weird because that's not really included in the top line. That puts us at over $500,000 of fundraising necessary for this year, at almost 600,000. Whereas the GOP in a year like this probably does about 100 or 150, but I don't know what their adopted budget is. Greg, Brandon?
Thanks, Brian. Could you just briefly talk about onboarding staff and what we're looking at time-wise and personnel-wise, please? for the coordinated campaign staff.
Oh, okay. Some of it is going to depend. So one of the, I guess, good news is some of the good news is that there are some candidates that are not in primaries or opposed. So we will have Democratic nominees shortly after April 6th. So we will have some candidates that we will kind of start asking for money to help support this program. So I say that's good news because that means that we could maybe start spending some money earlier rather than later. I don't think we've kind of specifically figured out exactly what we want to do. But typically we have someone that's responsible for running the coordinated generally. The biggest part of that, I think, this year is going to be helping the school board folks in their races. And then I think we also kind of have a targeted idea of helping specifically in the Springfield district, as we have the incumbent Republican supervisor there. So on the other side of the primary, we can help out the winner there, and also help out our school board endorsed candidate in that race. I'm looking, and I don't know what my computer is doing right now. I'm searching for the wrong thing. About the timelines, I think notionally we had talked about starting to about 4.5 months of a campaign director, and then another 4 months or so for other staff. So I'm like looking at what that actually means on this timeline here. I think the idea is that we start in May hiring in May, at the beginning of May, start hiring for the campaign director positions at the latest, and start. The idea, last time we kind of did this a little late, and we only had folks for like the last month or so. So I think the idea is that we could maybe have some folks on longer and kind of help coordinate things across campaigns for longer as well. I recognize Julie Shepard.
Hey, Brian, are you gonna do a task force again like you guys did the last time, in addition to the paid staff?
I think there are, we haven't decided that exactly. Task force technically has a duration of 90 days. So I don't know exactly what it's going to be, but I think there will be some, I don't know, super volunteers that will also kind of be involved in this process heavily, to help coordinate things with our staff.
Awesome, because I know that was really instrumental from being on someone who was on the campaign side last time. The super volunteers were very helpful in keeping everything going in the right direction. So thank you.
Okay, I'm not seeing any other hands raised. Is there any other discussion?
Mateo's got his needs to speak, I guess.
Mateo, do you have a question?
No, I'm sorry. I had spoken earlier.
Yeah, I thought that was earlier. Okay. Maggie Gobble, go ahead.
Yeah, I just was going to point out that you mentioned that the last time we did this, we started rather late, and we only had people really geared up for a month. And I want to remind everybody that part of the reason for that was we didn't have the money. So please donate, because we might be in that same position, and we really can't afford to wait until the very end. So just lessons learned. Thank you, Brian.
Thanks. It's like, I don't know if Sue is planning on talking about this later or whatever. She actually has in her background, but former FCDC chair Sue Langley is hosting a couple fundraisers to help pay for some of this as well. So she has the Democratic Unity one, which is right after the primary. So hopefully we can all get together and celebrate there on our path forward. And she's also having another event as well. Sue, this is not really kind of germane to the budget, so maybe I'll come back to you on that one later. But I want to thank her for that. I'm not seeing any other discussion. I guess I'll say, is there any objection to adoption of the budget? Okay, seeing no objection, the budget is adopted. And we can move on to Vice Chair Committee and Caucus reports. If my computer resumes, there we go. And I'm like looking for if Tina Barczyk that we just like, can I throw her in?
Brian, I'm here.
Like to, okay, I made a slide for you. I can
Okay,
recognize
great.
you
Thank
first.
Hi, everybody. Just getting done with the budget. This is the perfect time to speak. We have an amazing new venue for the Blue Fairfax dinner. It is Friday, May 5th, Cinco de Mayo. And we're very excited. As Brian mentioned, and Maggie put a shout out that we do need to raise a lot of money. So I do encourage everyone to attend this event. It's a large venue. It's a standalone building, so it will just be us in there. So I'm excited to share this. Also, we need donations for the silent auction. Please don't forget about the donating to the silent auction. Please, all the districts, please share that the Blue Fairfax dinner will be on May 5th, starting at 7 p.m. We're very, very excited. I hope you all are too. This is our biggest fundraiser of the year, and we really do need to raise some funds, and we are going to make it a great event. So you won't be sorry for attending. I wanted to thank everybody who came to the straw poll. The straw poll was an amazing event too. We had over 212 people vote. That's amazing. And I wanted to give a shout out to Brian, who created those ballots and that system, which made it a lot easier and less stressful to count that day and faster. And as he mentioned, we also have the Blue Unity event that will be on June 25th, right after the election. And then we're also going to have another event in July. So I do look forward to being the new vice chair and continue to raise funds for this great organization to elect Democrats. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Next, I recognize Maria Varel, co-vice chair of precinct operations.
Good evening, everybody. Nice to see you all. As you know, this year is the hardest local election to get people to care about the election, to get them out to vote. So it's a huge grassroots lift that we need to do. I'm hoping you all are thinking about how you can participate in supporting our election efforts. One of the things that the Precinct Ops Committee is excited to announce is that we're going to, again, go back to what we did pre-COVID, and that is to have a training summit that is an opportunity for precinct captains and active precinct ops volunteers to come together for a day of skills workshops and networking across the county to hear about best practices. And we'll be also inviting our candidates to attend one of the sessions. So put it on your calendars, let your precinct captains know. It's going to be July 29th at the Fairfax County Government Center, and more details to follow. Thank you.
Next, I recognize Peggy Morrison, co-vice chair of voter registration and education.
Hey, folks. A couple of quick things for us. We're starting student commuter registrations at Nova and George Mason the week of April 10th and week of April 17th. We're working on a door hanger, which will be a get out the vote piece that can be used by a lot of districts. And we're also, since we have such a large number of offices that people are voting on, we're working with precinct ops and trying to get a piece that will help people understand what the offices they're voting for and why it's so important to have Democrats in those offices. So that's another piece that we're working on.
Okay, thank you. Next, I recognize the first ranking vice chair of FCDC, Vice Chair South, Paul Jamison.
Well, hello. By this time, by the next FCDC meeting, we will know who the endorsed candidates are for school boards on the Democratic side, who Democratic endorsed candidates are. And I can drop all the neutrality I've had to show until then and get to work on behalf of our endorsed school board candidates. We have a lot to do, and we can get right to work. I have put together, with the help of a good team, a strategy paper which gives you a fair amount of background on what the school board is about and what what the background of what the Republicans are up to and trying to give you some messaging and some guidance like that. We're hoping to put together some training as well on that. And with that, I would like to talk to each of the endorsed candidates once we all get through that process. And so you'll hear from me at that point. And looking forward to this great campaign. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. And next I recognize Maritza Zermenio, the, I guess, outgoing chair of the Latino Caucus.
Yes, Brian, thank you. So I want to invite everybody to join us this Thursday, March 3rd, for my last meeting as a chair of the Latino Caucus. We're going to have a hybrid meeting. It's going to be Zoom and it's going to be in person at the garden in Eisenhower. I'm going to put all the information there, but we have two very special guests, Congressman Don Bayer and Kaneka Aguirre for the City Council of Alexandria. They're going to tell us about their trip and the things that they learned about Central America. So please join us and have some fun with us while you meet the next chair for the Latino Caucus. Thank you so much. Thank you, Brian.
Thanks. Next, I recognize Kelly Hebron, chair of the Black Caucus.
Hi, everyone. I too am in my car. Give me 1 second. I think I can get my camera on. Okay. Hi, everyone. This is Kelly Hebron. I'm chair of the Fairfax Black Caucus. A couple things. Just wanted to let everyone know we are actively engaged working to support NAACP on their efforts to address the Tyson shooting. I know Brian touched on it. We have a rally. NAACP will be holding a rally this Saturday at 10 a.m. Come out if you can. It will be at the Government Center. The more, the merrier. We are looking as one Fairfax to come out and support this rally and support the unjustified shooting, and also ask for change in policy so that this does not happen again. If you want to see our statement, I think someone may have posted it for me in the chat. I was trying, but I'm also driving and promised some time off with my two daughters. So we are on the road and aren't going to be back for a few days, but I promised them we were getting away. So I don't have the statement with me, but I think someone's going to post it for you all. It's also on our website. Please take a look. Reach out if you have any questions, and I'm happy to continue the conversation. Thank you, Brian.
Thanks, Kelly. Next, I recognize Sandra Clausen, chair of the National Affairs Committee.
Hi, everybody. This is Sandra Clausen. I wanted to join with others in talking about how we're working on basically thwarting the GOP agenda on schools, and tell you that in development is the next FCDC National Affairs Forum. We have a working title. It is entitled Dark Money is Coming for Our Children, the real right-wing agenda is to destroy public education. And the confirmed speakers we have to date are nationally known. We have Diane Ravitch, we have Maurice Cunningham, Lisa Graves, Jennifer Berkshire, and we're still waiting for two others. So keep watch, it's coming, and I wanted just to let you know it is. And this will, as I really appreciate that with Paul and others working, we're trying to come up with a synergistic way to address these school issues. Thanks so much.
Thanks. And next I recognize Michelle Wiss, chair of the Education Standing Committee.
Hi, all. I just wanted to let everybody know that we have scheduled, along with state and local, a candidate forum for at-large candidates on the 6th of May. I believe the time is 1 p.m., but I will put the registration in the chat. For those of you that have contested districts, I am also working with district chairs to see that we get something together for you. So, I invite everybody to join us in state and local on the 6th of May. Thank you.
And I would say last, Reggie from the API Caucus.
Hi, everybody. I'm Reggie, co-chair of the API Caucus.
just wanted to invite everyone to our next meeting on April the 14th. It's virtual. Every second Sunday of the month we meet. And I just wanted to invite any candidates who would like to speak at our API caucus meeting. Please send an email to aapi@fairfaxdemocrats.org. And we'll see if we can fit you in to speak with us maybe for about a couple of minutes on issues that would pertain to our caucus, the Asian API caucus. So thank you for that. And I'll give it back to Brian.
And next, Nelly Samaniego, now individual vice chair of diversity and outreach.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Brian. As she mentioned, I'm the chair of the Outreach Diversity Committee. March is a Women's History Month, a month dedicated to celebrating the contribution of women to their community. On March the 21st, as the chair of the Outreach Diversity, I was invited to participate at the dialogue with Senator Tim Kaine, hosted by the Korean American community. It was an afternoon with minority women shared the concern that they're affecting their communities and families looking for the solution. Also, the Diversity Outreach Committee, in collaboration with the Society for Enrichment of Asian, we will be celebrating women who make a difference at their community. Like the 2 past years, the reception will be held in the 10th district. We will present a recognition award and acknowledge leaders who make a contribution in the communities. Everybody's invited. I will send the flyer and the invitation to the executive director. And also, as Brian mentioned, Cinco de Mayo is going to the Blue Gala, but more than 7 years we will celebrate Cinco de Mayo. This time is going to be on May 4th. I will post the event in the calendar also, and please, everybody is welcome and can join the diversity in the 4th of May. Thank you, Brian.
Thanks. I look forward to celebrating Star Wars Day / Cuatro de Mayo with you. Okay. I'm not seeing any other hands, so I think we can move on. Sometimes they make it look so easy, but it's easier said than done sometimes, right? Okay. Let's see. Okay. That's our reports. We had the Blue Fairfax dinner, and we can move on to new business. Is there any new business? Not seeing anyone seeking the floor for new business. We can move on to announcements. And I'll start with Maggie Gabald.
Hi, everybody. Get ready. It is Party Central at Maggie Godbold's house this spring. So get your pencils out and start writing these dates down. Saturday, April 15th, Shamali fundraiser, my house, 7 p.m. All these, by the way, are on the FCDC calendar. Sunday, April 30th, 6 p.m., fundraiser for Steve Piscano. Moving right along. Saturday, May 30th. This is a good one. Fundraiser for Russet Perry. Russet Perry is running for the Democratic nomination for a seat in Loudoun County, one that has opened up recently with the retirement of Jill Vogler. This is a critical pickup. We really need to support our neighbors in Loudoun County. So Saturday, 20th of May, and then finally, there's more, but we'll just do these four. Friday, May 26th, a fundraiser for Stella Parsky running for Virginia Senate. So again, Party Central, come on out. You'll have a blast. Thanks a lot.
I think that's my cue, Brian.
Oh, I guess I was muted. I recognize you. Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, didn't hear the recognition. I apologize. Unlike Maggie, I'm only going to tell you about one fundraiser. It's on April 15th from 3 to 5 p.m. in McLean for my campaign for Drainsville District Supervisor. This is our first fundraiser. We'd love to have a big crowd. I know some of you have said, invite me to your fundraiser. April 15th, 3 to 5 p.m. I'll put the link in the chat. It'll be at Habib and Ayatollah's house in McLean, sort of near Georgetown Pike and the Beltway. Hope to see you then. Thanks so much for your support.
Okay, next I recognize Vice Chair Central, Manisha Singh.
Hi all, good evening. CD11 Democratic Committee is once again ready to host their 23rd State Event Brunch. This is one of a kind event celebrating our union organizations and community leaders. Please come join us. It's on 16th of April, 11 a.m. at Westwood Country Club. This year we are recognizing President of the Fairfax Fire Association, Bobby Young. Also, our community awardees are Majority Leader Dick Saslaw, Special Ed Teacher and President of FEA, Leslie Houston, and community activist, Judy Fisher. So please join us. The event is on FCDC calendar. I will put the link in the chat for those who can buy tickets right now.
Okay, thanks, Manisha. Next, I recognize the school board member at large, Abar Umesh.
Thank you, Brian, and it's great to have you guys, and especially to follow Maggie, who's always just so generous with candidates and Emerge Sisters. I mean, when I sent my team member, one of our students, one of my mentees, to speak to you guys earlier because I was in class myself, and not so pleased with, I guess, how she was received, but I wanted to make sure the message was delivered. Obviously, I am seeking y'all's support. I wanted to just share a little bit about kind of what we've been able to work on and what we've been able to deliver on, because I did make 20 promises to you all in 2019, and I'm really proud that we've been able to deliver, not only in resisting the governor and fighting the good fight on all kinds of issues as they continue to levy lawsuits and investigations, but primarily, you know, getting kids free tutoring across the board that started during COVID. And one of the initiatives that I'm really proud of that we led with a group of student leaders from every high school is to get kids free access to free telemental health. That's huge and it's historic, and it's going to start in April. I've been working on this for 2 years, and with the vote and support from my colleagues, have been able to get it done. And then, of course, a bias-related incident reporting mechanism that is also historic. It exists in New York and in California and other progressive places, but we've never had something like it. And it's going to give the students the opportunity to report if they're discriminated against, regardless of what background they come from, to seek real accountability, to make sure that no matter what, you know, race, disability, religion, if they're LGBTQ, no matter what identity they come to the table with, that they're valued and respected in our schools, and that they have recourse if they're not. And there's so much more that I could share with you all on things that I made promises to you about equity and inclusion that I'm really proud to be able to come here and tell you what I've been able to accomplish. And as a team, of course, doing things like collective bargaining and the literacy campaign and basing things off the science of reading. Those are things we've done as a team. So I look forward to continued conversations, to seeing you guys. I know most of these events have been virtual, so it's not been the same to see everybody at these events, but please be in touch if you have any questions, and I look forward to continuing to have your support through this endorsement and continuing to fight the good fight against the governor and making sure we protect all our kids. So thanks for listening to me and indulging me tonight.
All right, thank you. Next, I recognize Kathy Rem.
Hi, I would like to invite everyone to the Franconia Dems opening day baseball themed fundraiser, which is going to be April 29th in Springfield. I would like to encourage everyone to attend the training session. I know there was some talk in the chat in July that I went to the last training session as a fairly new volunteer the last time they had that 4 or 5 years ago, and it was an outstanding training session. I learned a ton. And while I have you, I would like to congratulate and thank the high school student who spoke here earlier and and mention how disappointed and shocked I was that anybody here would do anything other than encourage and support a young student who would come and speak among us. Thank you.
Next, I recognize Joanne Collins.
Hi, everyone. I'm just put in the chat, the Dallas area Democrats are having an event on Monday, April 17th, 7:30 in the morning. Our monthly breakfast at M4 Diner in Herndon. We'll be hosting a panel of the House District 7 candidates. That is the seat that Ken Plum is retiring from. So we will have Mary Barthelson, Paul Berry, Shamli Houth, and Karen Kizamara. So hope that if you live in that area, House District 7 will be voting on that. Hope that you can come out and listen to the candidates and their platform. Thank you.
Thank you, and thanks for doing that. Next, I recognize Sue Langley, former FCDC chair.
Hello, everybody. All right. Well, I would like to just talk about the two events that Brian mentioned earlier. Joanne Collins also have posted the link there earlier that you might already miss. Maybe Joanne might want to repeat that link again. The two events is, the first one is 2023 Democratic Unity Celebration fundraiser. Now, if you all love campaign and have all these, I don't know how many races we have, but I know that you're going to have at least 14 name on your ballots. This is the year that the local community could shine. But with all that work, with all that campaigns and races in our county, we need money. So a few of us volunteer to help raise money for FCDC this year. And there's two events. The first one that Brian already mentioned. The second one going to be in July. It's going to be on July 29, and we already have someone that will join us to headline the event. We are very fortunate to have Ann Houghton going to be at that event, going to be in McLean. So these two events, we hope to raise some money for FCDC. And the first one I just post on Facebook, and I know Greg Brandon also post another one for FCDC Facebook. Sorry about my voice. I think I lost my voice this weekend. The Facebook just had the sponsor level right now. The general level price is coming up after FCDC Blue Dinner. The reason that we did that because we hope that we can get the sponsor money to go to FCDC earlier. We need money now, and that's the reason. So please save this date, June 25th and July 29th. We're going to have a lot of fun, raise some money, and a lot of fun. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Sue. Next, I recognize Julie Shepard.
Hey, everybody. I'm Julie, and I am the campaign manager for Marcia St. John Cunning. And she's running for school board in the Franconia district, and she is having her campaign kickoff on April 15th at 2 o'clock in the Franconia district, and it's free to attend. So we want everyone to come out and meet her. I'm also co-hosting a fundraiser for Stella Pekarsky in the Mount Vernon district on April 30th at 2 o'clock. And both of those are in the chat and on the FCDC calendar. And I hope that you'll join us for both of those. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Next, I recognize Jim McBride.
Hi. Yeah, I would like to invite everyone to join something new that I'm calling a community caucus. The community caucus would have two main goals, I guess. Give voice to communities not yet officially represented by FCDC, and also be able to offer all communities and teams additional opportunities to come together and make connections. It would also be an opportunity to encourage all FCDC members to become ambassadors to their unique communities. This is a passion of mine, as I've held community leadership positions with the Obama campaigns, Arlington Democrats, Arlington Young Democrats, and most recently Swing Left, Biden-Harris, and the DNC. I anticipate there will be a Biden-Harris 2024 campaign, and there was a community leaders program that they had in 2020, and currently, to a certain extent, the DNC, and I anticipate there'll be more opportunities like that on the national level, and this would be a complement on the local level, which is frankly more effective. As we saw in 2021, community organizing and outreach, like the Yankee campaign did, which an elected official from Fairfax said in an event recently was successful. So it's not just me. But we need to learn lessons from that experience, and I think FCDC can take the lead on the local level to do year-round community-driven organizing and kind of get the ball rolling early. And that would be a great help to our competitive elections, like in Springfield, and of course our upcoming statewide elections over the next couple of years. An example of an event that I would recommend is in-person community meetups, which could be bi-monthly, alternating with FCDC meetings, could be on the weekends or during the week. Also we can do online virtual meetings and trainings to discuss community organizing and outreach. So I hope you would be interested in joining. I'll have a sign-up form, and I'll have a meeting to get people together to discuss it on Sunday, and I'll share the Zoom link for that. Thank you very much, and have a good evening.
Okay, next I recognize School Board Member Carl Frisch.
Thank you. Really quickly, since our last FCDC meeting, the school board passed collective bargaining for our educators and for our staff. And, the work of the school board is very serious. And so when you hear these appeals from everybody about supporting FCDC so they can support the school board, if you've been wondering over the last 3 years how you can support the school board, or you've been wondering, gosh, I wish I could have done something to support the school board, now is your opportunity to do that. If you've never given a donation to your local magisterial school board candidate, please do it now. It is harder for school board members to raise money than just about anybody else running for public office. To that end, and on a less serious note, I am having a fundraiser on April 29th, that it is an unusual event. If you were there in 2019, you know how fun it was. We had over 200 people there last year, or in 2019. It's called Laugh Out the Vote, and it is an event featuring a nationally famous political comedian named John Fugelsang, who you might know from Sirius XM or from cable television, etc. So he will be doing a big stand-up special for us, and it's going to be in Tyson's on Saturday, April 29th at 7 p.m. I strongly encourage you to be there. It was a blast last time, and for all the seriousness that we deal with on a day-to-day basis, it's nice to be able to let off some steam at one of these events. So I hope you'll all be there. And if you can't be there, I hope you'll find other ways to support your school board and to support FCDC in supporting your school board. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next, I recognize Treasurer Nadia Golding.
Hi, folks. I think Maggie and I are in a friendly competition to have more fundraisers in this year than in any other year. And sometimes we partner up and do them together, and sometimes we do them separately. I have one coming this Saturday for Chris Falcon, who's running for Circuit Court, clerk of the court, sorry. And Chris is an amazing candidate, and many of you have already met him and know how amazing he is. He's extremely well qualified for this position, being already working as a deputy clerk of court in Arlington. But, he grew up in Fairfax County. He's the son of immigrants. He's young, he's energetic, and he's going to make a great clerk of court. This job comes up only once every 8 years, so It's currently held by a Republican. We don't want that to happen again. So please support him at my fundraiser on Saturday night from 6 to 8, this Saturday night, April 1st. Put the link in the chat, and I hope all of you will come. Thank you.
And Chris, I see you're here. Do you still, you had your hand raised earlier. I don't know if you want to say anything.
Hey, Brian, thank you. It's hard to follow that up other than just my huge thanks to Nadia for opening up her home. And we're going to have the amazing Senator Boysko giving some remarks. And I think she's going to be making an announcement too. But just a huge thank you to our host committee and to everyone that's already RSVP'd to come out. Please come on Saturday. It's going to be a lot of fun. And it was great to see you guys at the straw poll this past weekend. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I recognize Jeremy Cullimore from the Steve Descano for Commonwealth Attorney campaign.
Great. Thank you so much. Hey, everybody. Campaign manager for Steve Descano, running for Commonwealth Attorney. Just wanted to make a quick announcement about a canvass we have coming up this Saturday, April 1st at 10 a.m. Launch, as well as a 1 p.m. shift launch as well in Annandale. Please come out and join us. Would love to see you. Bruce, our field organizer, I think, has been leaving information in the chat, and just wanted to make an extra shout out here. Thanks so much. Good seeing everybody.
Next, I recognize Paul Davis, chair of the Hunter Mill District.
Yeah, this is Paul Davis, the chair of the heroic Hunter Mill Democrats. We are having our 47th annual lasagna dinner on May 13th. It's a Saturday evening. I invite the whole committee to come out, enjoy some pans of lasagna and some garlic bread and all the fixings, and have a good time with your Democratic friends and the rocking resting community. Would love to see you have it. More information is going to be coming out. Just want to put this on your calendar. Again, this is May 13th, Saturday, from 7 to 9. Thank you.
Next, I recognize Mary Wagner. You're muted. I'll have to ask you to.
Okay, I just wanted to tell everybody that Braddock District is having our Derby Day on May 6th. So after you have a lovely evening at the Blue Dinner, come join us on Saturday at Kilroy, starting at 4 o'clock. We hope to have many of our we're going to have hopefully many of our candidates at the event, and we will do a straw poll. So we're hoping to see many of you there. Thanks.
Okay, and I was going to say last but not least, but let's see if I can get Stacy to work there. I don't see you on audio there. Can you hear us okay, Stacy? Or can we hear you? Maybe is the more important thing. Okay, so now I'll give Stacy a moment. Stacy, if you can, if you unmute yourself, just talk. Start. You can just start talking and interrupt me. Are there any other announcements?
Hey, Brad, this is Dan Stork.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to let everybody know that we have the Environmental Expo. This is our 5th annual on April 22nd from 10 to 2. We are sponsored in conjunction with the National Park Service. It's at Fort Hunt Park. Love to see you there. We have lots of stuff going on, electric vehicles, school buses. We have really all kinds of nature walks and nature identifications, and we'll have tons of environmental groups there. So would welcome everybody and anybody coming, especially I think it's appropriate or useful, beneficial to our kids, students, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, Cub Scouts, kids in all different kinds of environmental groups. It's really a great opportunity to live, learn, act, and do, which is really what it's all about, to try to make a difference in our environment and hopefully make a difference in reducing our greenhouse gas emissions. So this April 22nd, 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock at Fort Hunt Park. It's right along the river.
Okay, thank you. And next I recognize our sheriff, Stacy Kincaid. Stacy, are you there? You're gonna have to unmute yourself.
We won't do anything about it.
It's just indefensible.
If you can unmute yourself, Stacey, go ahead and interrupt me. We still can't hear you. Saddam Saleem has joined us. I'll recognize you.
For Sheriff Kincaid, I'll make an announcement. Just a couple of announcements for my campaign. I'm running for state senate, District 37th. Every Thursday night we have phone banking and postcards where dinner is provided along with snacks. And then this upcoming Sunday, I do have a meet and greet Sunday at 2 p.m. at Northside Social in Falls Church, along with door knocking on the weekend. So I'll leave that on the chat as we're gearing up for this election. So thank you.
Okay, thanks you. Want to give another opportunity, another chance for our sheriff to speak if she can.
So many different motives that people have had for these shootings.
But maybe she's in a situation where she can't anymore.
Nazi oriented, but for him to
Okay. Oh no, what is that? Okay. Well, I guess while if you can interrupt me, Stacey, just go ahead and do it. But in not seeing any other announcements, our meeting will shortly adjourn. The next county committee meeting is May 23rd at 2023. We don't quite have acceptance yet, but we believe that it will be at Marshall High School, as well as also on Zoom for those who can't attend in person. Love to see folks in person if they are well and can. And of course, as always, go to the FCDC calendar, fairfaxdems.org, for information about your next district committee meeting or caucus or standing committee meeting. One of the many other ways to get involved with FCDC. And I think that's it. I'll see if we can get Stacey one last time. Okay. Well, I guess that's it then. So I apologize for that. And I'm sure we will be able to hear from our sheriff again soon. And thanks everyone for joining us at our May meeting. And I hope to see you at an FCDC event soon, or if not before then, on May 5th at the Blue Fairfax dinner. Thanks everyone.
Move to adjourn.
Without objection.